Okay, welcome everybody to our Redox Talk session for tonight. My name's Sally Dymond. I'm an ASEA double Dymond, which means I've been with ASEA for just a little bit longer than some of you, and probably about 3.5, 4 years. And tonight we're going to be sharing a story. It's actually a really good friend of mine now, but she started as a client. And she has a really, really amazing story. And, you know, when Carolyn first came in to see me, I didn't really know what the heck we were going to do with her. Sometimes people come in and I'm a little stumped on where it's going to go or why they're even standing in front of me. And, you know, sometimes I just put my hands up in the air and say a prayer while they can't see. And Carolyn was certainly one of these people. So before we get started, I want to ask you to think about a few things. And there's certainly going to be some questions that might arise from this, because it's astounding what this technology can do for you or someone you love. But when I first started with ASEA, it was really a skeptic's journey for about 9 months. I didn't believe anything that I was seeing or reading. And then I really took the plunge, got off the skeptical fence and started to ask some questions and really just use the product. So there's really 6 reasons why someone might look at this. Do you have a health challenge or know someone who has a health challenge? Would you like to reduce the visible signs of aging? Well, the answer is mostly yes to, you know, anyone that you ask that question to. Do you need more energy to do what you love to do? We could all do with more energy. Even when you think you've got lots of energy and you get more, it's a wonderful thing, because, you know, you stay up till 4:30 in the morning and you party all night in Dublin when you can't come away with us. Are you an athlete looking for more or improved endurance, stamina, or better performance? Or are you looking for more time, money, freedom to do the things that you love? Or are you looking for a different venture? Are you bored in your current job? Do you need a new group of friends to hang out with? You know, some of these things resonated with me, but I wasn't really looking for any of them, let's just say. But now that I'm involved in ASEA, I would probably say I tick all of those boxes. Everyone has a health challenge going on in their life or in their family or amongst their circle of influence and friends. So you really have the potential to help everyone. Trouble is, not everyone wants to be helped. So one of the hardest things about being here is you have to sit and watch people that say no and watch their journey until the time maybe is right. So you can't change everyone's life, but you can certainly start changing many around you. And if you're patient and you stay in the game long enough, you start to change lots and lots of people's lives. So where I sit now, I start to see change happening on a global level and very deep within an organization. So someone I told tells someone, and then that someone comes up to you one day and tells you their story, and it can be absolute goosebump material, and that's what we're paid in. We're paid in goosebumps, and it starts to come from all over the world when you start to really spread this message. So to live really well, we need 2 basic things: a body that can do whatever you ask it to do, and enough money to ask it to do some of these great things. So you'll hear Carolyn's story soon, and she really needs both. She needed lots of money, and she needed to have a body that would do things that, you know, she would ask it to do. So to have that body, you need to be exercising. You might be watching your diet. You might be taking supplements. You might be doing everything that you can think of, but it's just not enough. It's not working. You're not getting the results that you want. And sometimes you really don't know what else is out there. And some people are narrow-minded and they don't even want or even know how to look outside the box unless they're in that medical box and the doctor's telling them what to do. And it's not necessarily all there is to do. So, you know, when you can start to broaden your peepers and your eyes a little bit more and your mind and expand it to include some of the other things, then that's when you start to get results. So frustratingly for some, no matter what you do, as you age, your cells respond less effectively to all these strategies. Your body, your cells begin to break down. You produce energy less efficiently, and repairing happens at a much slower rate. If your cells could just do a little bit more, be a little bit more efficient, your exercise worked, your nutrition worked, you could be healthier longer and you could be suffering a lot less. So several years ago, scientists made this groundbreaking discovery, and they identified molecules that were totally natively produced inside the body that helps our cells repair and regenerate. And they're the redox molecules. That's what we're talking about tonight. And when they were discovered, years of research and development went into figuring out how to produce these molecules outside of the body so that they could be used as a nutritional supplement. The result is a molecular technology that helps your cells work better. And when your cells work better, you work better on every system of your body. Your exercise and your diet will become more productive, and anything that you're taking nutritionally will start to work from cell to cell, because you need the nutrition in your cells, but the redox actually helps transport that information and that nutrition from cell to cell. So the end result when you start to use some of the ASEA products is you look better, you feel better, you have more energy, you sleep better. When you sleep, that's when your body heals. So most people that come into my practice, they're injured, they're in pain, they're in chronic pain, they've been sick for a really long time, they just don't sleep. They're on sleeping pills, but it's of a really bad quality of sleep. So the first thing we need is much, much better sleep, and we need that sleep to go on night after night so that their body is really getting that deep cellular cleanup and the healing that takes place. And once you've got more energy in your body then has the energy to produce what's necessary to actually heal and repair. So now we're going to hear from our special guest, Carolyn. And Carolyn's going to tell us a little bit about what life was like before she started ASEA, and we've got a really beautiful slideshow that she put together. I'm not going to take any credit for that. And she's going to tell us about what she tried previously, why did she start redox, what benefits she experienced and how long did it take, some of the other things she did to try and heal, how much she was using and how much of a difference it's made in her life, and what she can do now that she couldn't do before. So I'm going to share the little slide here. And, oops. All right, can you see my screen now?
I can, Sal. I hope everyone else can.
Perfect. Take it away, Carolyn.
Thanks, Sal. And look, hi, everyone. It's a real honour to be invited tonight to actually share my story with you, which, as Sal mentioned, is a pretty arduous and long healing journey for me, which really began 28 years ago when I was very young. And at a very young age, I suffered a bite and became sick with a series of infections. And for the past 28 years, I've suffered from an array of symptoms. So we're talking about unexplained rashes, severe digestive upset, fairly severe weight loss, looking at about 1 kilo a week at one point, an ever-mounting list of allergies and sensitivities, including challenges with plastic. Before I met Sal, I was anaphylactic to plastic, so I couldn't drink out of a plastic bottle. All of my water was purchased overseas in glass bottles and shipped to Australia. Muscle twitches and chronic fatigue amongst a long list. So, if I can get you to move to the next slide for me, please. So back in early 2015, I got a new job, and it was my dream job, and I was really, really excited. And just a couple of weeks later, I crashed. My body started to fail me, and I couldn't eat. Everything basically made me sick. I couldn't sleep because I was in too much pain. I couldn't even perform the most basic tasks, and in fact, like making your own lunch, your own dinner. And within a couple of weeks, I was in full-time care. I'd gone from being a fairly fit, athletic type of individual to basically someone who didn't look like they had much of a future. And at that time, you can see on the slide, I was riddled with welts, rashes, scratch marks, things which the medical profession just really couldn't explain and sadly couldn't help me with. You can probably see one of my key symptoms was around my eyes. The photo from July 2015, I was trying to smile, but I felt pretty terrible inside. And, at times suffered from blurred vision and various things associated with those dark marks. So things didn't look good. To share with you, I was 34 at the time, so really in the peak of my corporate career at that stage, and things were pretty rough. I should say my standard blood tests were normal, and a number of doctors turned me away saying, nothing's wrong, just get on with it, which was pretty hard to hear. So at that point in time, I was looking for other answers. And Sal, if you can just slide on to the next one for me, please. So fast forward sort of 6, 7, 8 months, February 2016, you can see I'm really not any better. In fact, I was getting worse. And at this point, I'd tried dozens of herbs, supplements, protocols that are known internationally for helping people heal from multisystemic infections. And that photo in February 2016 was actually taken when I'd flown to Tasmania for hypothermia treatment here in Australia, because I'd actually been declined from clinics overseas who told me I was too sick to treat. And you can imagine at this stage, my options were pretty limited, and there wasn't a lot of hope that I had any longevity in my life, which is tough to say, but was the stark reality of the situation. Now, moving on to May 2016, and you can see at that point, I got some new symptoms and some new challenges. My body actually started to burn from the inside, and you can see the rash on my torso and on my right hand. It felt like my whole body was on fire, which was pretty extreme and difficult to deal with. And at this point, the herbs, the supplements, etc., still aren't working. So, Sal, if you can move forward for me. Yeah. So enter two things in my life, and the first was energy healing. And I met Sal just before that photo in June 2016, when I actually sought out Scanner to try and help me limit the number of allergies and things I'd had. I'd heard on the grapevine that Scanner and energy healing could really help with those things, and I was desperate to not be anaphylactic to plastic anymore. That was at the top of my list. So working with Sal and a couple of other people, we got me to the point in June 2016 where I could actually take a SIA. So I'm pretty excited in that photo. It was a real turning point for me that day. I started on a really low dose. From memory, it was about 30 mils in that little beaker that you can see in front of me. And within 3 days of taking that photo, I could make meals for myself again, which was pretty extraordinary, having spent the previous 14 or 15 months on the couch in full-time care, not being able to do a thing for myself. Despite that, I was still experiencing symptoms. So I thought it was really important to include a picture a couple of months later where you can see my body's still experiencing these unexplained rashes. Completely out of the blue, I'd done nothing unusual on that day, eaten nothing different, and yet things were happening. So that's right, so you can move forward. So during that period, my partner had actually moved over to the UK. He'd got a job with a helicopter company offshore, and we weren't sure whether I'd make it. So for me, ASEA was hopefully a vehicle to actually being able to live my life again and move over to the UK to join him. And very fortunately for me, together with the energy healing, ASEA helped me get on the plane. And in November 2016, in fact, in October 2016, I made it to the UK. So just 4 months later, I had managed an international move. You can see in the photo from November 16, I'm still not particularly well, but I'm well enough to live my life again. And fast forward to January 2017, and you can see I'm starting to look like a different person. I'm beginning to look a lot more like myself. That photo was actually taken in Tromsø in Norway, which is a fair way up the Norwegian coast in very, very cold conditions. And for me, it was something I'd written off, not even a year previous. I didn't think there was any hope of me traveling the world again, let alone staying in hotels with all of the chemical sensitivities I had, getting on and off aircraft, drinking juice and water purchased in plastic bottles from news agencies and stores in aircraft lobbies. These things were were completely foreign to me, or had become foreign to me, and suddenly I could do them again, which was pretty amazing. And I coined the phrase through my healing, hold the vision, trust the process, which was really, really important for me, because despite starting a SIA and having energy healing, not every day was great. In the beginning, I was drinking a lot of ASEA. It was costing a lot of money, and I had to drop the dose so that I could afford it, and then up the dose again when I could pay for it after I'd started working. But the important thing was I knew the process was right. And if I held the vision and belief that I was going to heal, and I used the energy healing and ASEA in combination, if I trusted that, I believed I would heal and be able to do some pretty amazing things again. And now we're in 2018. The photo on the left of me in Portugal. And you can see there I've got a little swelling sort of on the left-hand side of my face. That's one of the infections flaring up. So I'm still well enough to go on holidays and have a great time, but there's a few little things that I'm still dealing with. And then the photo there on the right, well, the series of photos, is actually from a 4-month holiday I've just shared with my partner around Europe. We drove through, I think it was about 21 countries over 4 months, and we're living the dream basically, which was incredible given the journey that I'd been on, and the fact that 2 years, just 2.5 years prior, I'd rewritten my will and doctors had told me there was basically no hope. So for me, I'm extraordinarily grateful for having come across ASEA. I've got Sol to thank, so given she's hosting tonight, I can thank her personally and definitely say that I'll be forever grateful for what those redox molecules have done for me and my family, because they rode this journey with me. And there's ups, there's downs, often more downs than ups, but in the end, we got there, and I'm now back in Australia and looking to go back to full-time work, which is pretty exciting.
Awesome.
So that's my story.
Thanks, Carolyn. Awesome. Can you just share with us maybe the beginning and what you first thought when I told you about redox?
Sure. I'm a born skeptic. So
she's also a lawyer and an accountant and a million other things.
Please don't switch off now. That's just kind of a terrible picture. But I am all of those things, and I had actually, in the months leading up to hearing about ASEA, been introduced to, I think, about 12 network marketing products, all various supplements, from friends, family, extended networks who were just trying to help me. So when Sol mentioned ASEA, I must admit I rolled my eyes and thought, here we go again. But in addition to being an accountant and a lawyer, I also specialise in innovation and transformation. And for me, it was important that whenever somebody recommended a new product, that I actually do explore it and make an informed judgment rather than just dismiss it. And I'm really glad I did, because when I looked into the science, the innovation, the intention and the ethos of the company, for me, it all stacked up. And it then became my mission to actually be well enough to drink the product, which was a challenge for me. So it did, I think, Sal, took me about 6 or 8 weeks, I think, to be convinced to take the plunge, but the rest is history.
Carolyn would not let me put the Renew anywhere near her because A, it was in plastic, and B, she was terrified of anything being on or near her skin because she had such allergic reaction to everything. So, my praying went with the, you just need to try, that I would say. And we started with a sample tube, and I think a tiny little bit went on her knee first. And we started with one little rash somewhere, and it was a really slow, gradual process done with lots of love and reassurance and lots of information. And, you can't push anyone into doing anything. So it's really up to the individual. And as you saw, Carolyn was in a really, really bad state, not just physically, but mentally. She really didn't have the capacity to absorb a lot and retain a lot. And, some days she'd just fall on the bed and we would just kind of work together there with what she had. So, you know, it's so awesome for me to be out walking along the beach with Carolyn now, and, you know, being able to spend time laughing and, you know, having her as a friend, and having been through all of that and watched her go on this amazing holiday and a trip and get her on the plane to, you know, to be with her partner. And Chris is awesome. So, you know, we're so excited to have watched her journey and seen what redox does. So, you know, whether you're super sick or whether you're well, wanting that next level, redox can and will take you if you do it right and you do it for long enough and you trust the process. So, you know, it's part of cleaning up a body, and Carolyn is still dealing with, you know, certain health issues and problems, and today it's a possum infestation going on at her house. So I'm grateful Carolyn could be here tonight, because we were a little unsure this morning if it was actually going to take place. So thank you, Carolyn. Just shows the true champion she is. And not every day is a great day, and today is not one of Carolyn's great days. So this is Carolyn looking, you know, on a not so great day today, which you can all attest is still a lot better than how she was a long time ago. So a not so good day is still better than probably, you know, one of the days she used to have all the time. So
by a country mile, Sal. So thank you. And you've triggered a memory. I think that's worth sharing. It when I started on the Renew, my skin dried out horribly, and one of the challenges I was facing was heavy metals, and in particular mercury. And by holding that vision and trusting the process, it's taken me 2.5 years, but I can now use Renew without any dry skin, and it's really bouncing back like you wouldn't believe. So consistent application, a lot of patience and belief has really paid off.
Yeah. And, you know, there's lots of other things that Carolyn has done. So, you know, it's not just, you know, believing in one thing. It's about combining and getting your medical team right and getting all of those pieces of the puzzle in. And when a seer comes into a team like that, you really can start to see massive changes that occur. So, you know, really important to keep your eyes open and really just keep adding some of these energy modalities and kinesiology and all these great things out there, because it's connecting the wires on many levels in the body between cells and neurons and nervous system and brain and pathways and emotions. All those things, you know, have to come together to solve the puzzle and some of these really complex things. So I don't know if anyone has any questions before we end here tonight, but I was a sprinter, so we like to do things fast in our world. Carolyn's the same, so we don't want to keep you too long. But if someone has a question for Carolyn, just unmute yourself and fire away. No one has a question?
Yep. I'd like a question, because I have a friend over in America that has a similar condition to yourself.
Sure.
And I've seen a lot of people that are having immunotransfusions and things like that. Are you now in a place where you could attempt that as well, now that you're safe to fly, or have you attempted anything like that, Carolyn?
Thanks for the question, Tracy. Look, I'm in a place now where I don't believe I actually need to do anything that extreme.
Okay.
The team Sal talks about that I've put together that's helping me. Sal's obviously a key member. I also have a kinesiologist, fortunately for me, based here in Queensland. And the way I talk about it is together with the belief in the nutrition, the kinesiology actually activates and alerts my body to what needs to heal. And the ASEA then accelerates the healing process once my body knows what to do. And I went from having a whole pharmacy full of supplements and herbs that used to cover my kitchen bench to literally using nothing but kinesiology and ASEA.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. It can be done. That's all I can say. It really can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we might wrap that up here now. Thanks again to Carolyn. And we have a couple of announcements here. I know Sharon and the Melbourne crew have an event going on Saturday. Nicole will be down there hosting that. So all the details are in the Shine Bright team. You can buy tickets for that, bring your guests. It should be a great event. And we're always here on a Tuesday night, 7:30 for team training and 8 o'clock for a redox talk similar to this. One of the leaders will be hosting it. And I think that's about all from me tonight. Wednesday nights, we have our Expert in the House call. It's advancinglifeintro.com, and that's at 8 p.m. Queensland time. And has anyone else got any other announcements that they would like to make? Nope. So on that note, I think that we can